Respect is earned. And it is two-way. We respect our church leaders. And they must earn that respect. If you speak at me, I'll speak back at you. When we give in church, we do not give in church to please the bishop, the moderator, the reverend, not even the church members, the congregations in our churches. We do it because the good book in the Bible tells us, do good and communicate.
When the voice of the church is silent, the nation suffers. And Madam Speaker, I want to say that I agree with the church that they must speak and must call out evil. And it is indeed unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation where members of parliament can actually be talking back and forth with the church.
I don't think we are angels. And instead of bashing the church publicly, loudly like this, we should also look at ourselves. I think both sides of the society, there's a problem.
You cannot blame members of parliament who come from the ruling party why they are supporting their government. Yes. People have been elected on parties.
Yes.
People went to be elected on Kenya Kwanza, others went to be elected on Azimio, others went to ODM. Mr. Speaker, you cannot blame a member of parliament from the ruling party. Why is he supporting his government? He made a decision in 2022 to run on that party and to support that government. Mr. Speaker, this is the place we need to speak. If the church can speak in the church, we will also speak in parliament. No, that's the truth of the matter. We are going to speak here. Everybody has a mouth to say, and everybody has a forum to talk. If there is no mutual respect, leadership must be respected. We are speaking on behalf of people. Every member of parliament here has been given mandate by people. Nobody is here invited. Nobody has come here under the invitation of anyone here. Everyone has been elected. Some of the members here, like the women reps, have come here with over 400,000 votes. It's not a joke, Mr. Speaker. People don't know how difficult it is to convince 400,000 people to vote for you. Let us rise up for our rights. We are not going to accept this now lying down. We are going to stand up for our rights, and we are going to become the union leaders. As the minority leader, as the majority leader, we are going to become union leaders of parliament, Mr. Speaker. And we will defend, because institutions of governance must be respected. And parliament is one of those institutions. Parliament has been created by the constitution. So if we don't respect our institutions, how do we respect the mosque? How do we respect the church? If you're not respecting the institution that is used for governance. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge people outside there to be respectful. Otherwise, you will know why chicken doesn't have milk.
Let me first thank the Honorable Junet for raising this issue. Because, Honorable Speaker, at times we are afraid to speak for ourselves because we'll be seen to be fighting the church or religious leaders. And let me thank Honorable Junet, because the issue he has raised is not an issue where he is raising an issue that is fighting anybody, but rather fighting for ourselves as members of parliament. Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the member for Kericho, who is conversing in Kalenjin in the house. The book of Hebrews, Honorable Speaker, 13:16 says, but to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. That is the word of the Lord. And that word, Honorable Speaker, is the word I would like to remind our religious leaders, including my own moderator of the Presbyterian Church, the Reverend Thegu, whom I saw last night on TV admonishing this house that this house is captured, that when the executive wants us to pass bills, we pass them with lightning speed. Of course, we pass them with lightning speed because that is what the people elected us to do. And we do that because we are actualizing the manifesto of what we sold to the people of Kenya, because we want to remain true to the people and to God. Therefore, because you are my moderator, you cannot admonish me simply because you hail from Nyeri and you think the impeachment process moved with speed. That speed is what is expected of us under the Constitution. The Constitution gives us timelines as to when and how you prosecute an impeachment process. And let me say, Honorable Speaker, because the Honorable Junet has done good to raise this issue. We must not be afraid to tell our religious leaders that even when we do good, as the book of Hebrews tells us, when we give in church, we do not give in church to please the bishop, the moderator, the reverend, not even the church members, the congregations in our churches. We do it because the good book in the Bible tells us, do good and communicate because it is pleasing to God. I never go to church to please my bishop. I never go to church to please my moderator. I neither go to church to satisfy the whims of my reverend. I go to church and do what I do because it is pleasing to my God, and we shall continue to do it. And if our religious class imagines they can intimidate us, I have never walked into a church, Honorable Speaker, and asked a single religious leader to give me an opportunity to speak to church. I am glad I patronize a church that's not one of the mainstream churches in Nairobi, together with the member for Kiminini, the Honorable Kakai Bisau. And we go there and we sit in church, we listen to the sermon, and we leave. We never seek anybody to give us an opportunity to address the congregation. When they are fundraising in church, I have never seen a single politician invite himself to a fundraising in church. But the church leaders must not make it look like we invite ourselves to churches to contribute money. We have many other places we can take this money. Honorable Speaker, it is true what the majority whip is saying. I accompanied the president to Soweto, the Catholic Church in Soweto, in Embakasi East. When we sat to have a cup of tea with the church leadership of that church. They are the ones who sought the president's help and our help, together with that of the governor for Nairobi, to build a house for the father. They also sought help with the road. That road to Soweto has already been advertised in the papers for its rehabilitation. When I saw the Archbishop of the Catholic Church, with all due respect to the Archbishop of the Catholic Church, write a letter that they will return some money to the president, I can confirm to the country and to this house, not a shilling, not a cent has been returned to the president. And when it is returned, there are hundreds of churches who have sent me messages and are sending the president messages. They are waiting for the money to be returned. They are willing to receive the money to do the work of God because it is pleasing to God, not to man, not to the bishop, not to the archbishop. Honorable Speaker, respect is earned, and it is two-way. We respect our church leaders, and they must earn that respect. If you speak at me, I'll speak back at you. If you respect me, I will respect you back. Honorable Speaker, I had my own moderator of the Presbyterian Church yesterday say things that I would not expect a church leader to say and speak of leaders. Because, again, if you read the book of Romans, it calls Romans 13, I think verse 1 to 4. It calls on everybody to obey authority because there is no authority that is not ordained by God himself. God is not the religious leaders. God anoints religious leaders to serve his people. God anoints political leaders and other secular leaders to lead his people. And we all serve the same people. Therefore, I know we all come from backgrounds. And I know some of these religious leaders have issues because of where they come from. But they must divorce their personal feelings from their church work. At times there are things I also want to say because based on where I come from. But I remember I am a leader in this country, a national leader. There are certain things I cannot say or do as a leader. I want to call for that wisdom from our religious leaders. I want to call for them to respect authority as commanded in the Bible. I want them to help this country. Some of the issues that I see them pointing fingers to government on are issues of morality, are issues that they should be dealing with in society. Be it femicide, be it the growing trend of LGBTQs and everything, Honorable Speaker. Be it issues touching on corruption. I hear a member saying even the anti-corruption, ethics and anti-corruption commission is headed by a bishop. Yes. And a good bishop for that matter, and we wish him well. But all these societal challenges are challenges of society that we must address them together as leaders. Both the political leadership and church leadership, or religious leaders, not just church, even our Muslim leaders.
When the voice of the church is silent, the nation suffers. And Madam Speaker, I want to say that I agree with the church that they must speak and must call out evil. And it is indeed unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation where members of parliament can actually be talking back and forth with the church. Did the members of parliament bring this? No. The church brought it upon themselves. And Madam Speaker, they brought it upon themselves that if you look at the last election, the church was very partisan. The church classified my party leader a demon and a devil. And they are not God, because only God knows the heart of man. You told us as the church that President Ruto was ordained by God. When did God unordain him? Or were you listening to yourselves and not to God? This is a very serious issue. The church has a place, a very special place in society. And when you cede that position to politicians, the society loses it. That is why we have femicides, things that the church should address. That is why we have rogue youth talking toxic to politicians. That is why you have people disrespecting others, because the church has decided to take politics ahead of their God-ordained duty. I want to encourage the church leaders to look at Matthew chapter 15, when the Pharisees and the teachers of the law went to confront Jesus and what they told Jesus. Because my time is up, I just want to say that if they look at what is in the book of Matthew, Jesus told them, Matthew chapter 15, they can read all of it, but Jesus told them, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. The church needs to do serious soul searching and bring the country back to its moral and rightful place.
I don't think we are angels. And instead of bashing the church publicly, loudly like this, we should also look at ourselves. I think both sides of the society, there's a problem. We should look at ourselves, the church should look at themselves and find out. And as leaders, it is our duty to lead in this process and find out why the church is talking as it is talking about us and face those issues that we'll find out.